I don't know if that's good enough.
Yes, that's good enough. So I would ask you a few more questions and then we begin to put things into perspective.
Okay.
Yeah, payment. Okay. Now, what do you think is the goal of this business from your standpoint? What are you trying to achieve from this project as a
The
client?
project, as a client, the project is to have a website that is trusted and is very, very defined, and I would say, such that clients can easily just go to a go-to website, an easy go-to website that when promoted, people would be able to trust and want to invest, and also the website that would make people want to want to invest their money in, and also trust that their payment is secured with, especially because some of them have worked so hard and some of them are working so hard.
Okay.
I hope
Now,
I made
I have
sense.
been able to, yes, well, I've been able to document a few things that captures the goal of this project to build a website that is trusted by people who seek to secure their future, right?
Yes.
By way of savings, by way of um, contributory pension, by way of pension, contributory pension, and easy to navigate website and secure payment gateway. This particular one is under objective of the project. Any projects that you want to be easy to navigate, um, you want to be able to optimize return on investment. You want to be able to, okay, let's just leave this two. You want to optimize return on investment and you want an easy to navigate website and easy to navigate website, secure payment gateway. All right, secure payment gateways. These are the objectives you intend to achieve after building this platform. Now, we have just identified a few things you want, including the payment plans, payment duration, the user category, young man and woman, then old or in elderly, then we have admin, that's you that will be operating. Then we could have super admin. You want policy page, you want a policy page, you want a live and okay. So let's do this. As a product owner, my job now is you have told me you want this, 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 and this live chats. So this is my understanding of what the client wants, including live chat features. Including live chat features, right? This is my understanding of what the client wants. Now, when I approach my Scrum team with this list, I'm trying to make this very practical. When I approach my Scrum team with this list, and I have a grooming session, do you know other things that could come up that we will then begin to talk about when we talk about payment plan? We are looking at payment gateways. We are looking at, we'll be looking at checkout options. We'll be looking at secure payments.
The payment options, maybe Apple Pay. Like if they want to pay instrumentally
Payment
as well.
options.
Direct debit options.
Yeah, payment options. That's payment integrations.
Okay.
Credit cards, we have PayPal.
There are other ones that they use here as well. Like that you can pay in installment. Maybe like then the direct debit one, because the website has to be trusted for them to put their cards there and they can collect the money monthly.
Yeah. So now I have this is what we call grooming session. That's what we are doing now, grooming session.
The discussion.
Yes. So the grooming session is basically to break down this. All these are actually called product backlog. In their original form, not broken down, they are called product backlog items. Okay. Now this is now what we call grooming session. After grooming session, we will now think about payment gateways. We will now think about, we'll now say this will take 9 hours to integrate. Checkout option. Checkout option, and this you check out, then you check out either with your credit card, PayPal, and let's see, this will take 4 hours. Now the development team are the guys telling you the efforts. This is what we call effort estimation. There are several ways of conducting effort estimation, really. You can do some research around those, but we attach hourly sometimes to those efforts. So this will take 5 hours. Payment integration, this will take 18 hours. This will take 18 hours. Now, payment duration. Okay, I think if it goes under. Now, payment duration, what can come under payment duration? Say the payment terms. For somebody who wants to opt for, say, 3 years plan, 10 years plan, right?
Yes,
so you can have, or what?
Is it like a retirement one?
Yes. The payments plan for the retirement. That's the terms. In terms of, it could be a 15 years term, could be 10 years term and all. Okay. So this, they have said they can take 9 hours in building this. Okay, let's leave it at this. Then policy page. So we have copyrights. We have copyright policy, country of governance, pension policy, terms policy. The business analyst can do this as well. The product owner can do this as well. So a product owner, that's why you can't find a product owner who does not understand requirement gathering and elicitation. All right. So product owner documents all this, then comes to the Scrum team and the Scrum Master schedules a backlog refinement session or a grooming session, as we also call it. Now, this grooming session, the essence is to have the Scrum team break down these work items, these core features into manageable bits, into issues. We also call them issues in Jira. We also call them manageable work packages, all right, that can be delivered on during the course of a sprint. So now we have broken down this payment plan features into, we need to have a payment gateway. We need to have checkout options. We need to secure pay. And then as we are doing this, we are attaching, the development team are doing what we call effort estimation. They are proposing, from their experience, they're proposing the number of hours it would typically take in delivering each of these work items. Now, at the end of the day, all the work items you achieve, we call them low-level features, or you can also call them sprint backlog items. These are low-level features or sprint backlog items. Now, so I have itemized the low-level features or the sprint backlog items under each of the main features. All right. Now, this is sprint planning meeting, which is the first ceremony. Sprint planning is the start point of every sprint. In a typical project, you could have one sprint, you could have two sprints, you could have 3 sprints, you could have up to 40 sprints, 60 sprints, depending on the size of the project and the nature of the project. So we have, after having to arrive at our sprint backlog items, the next thing to now do is the Scrum Master now schedules a meeting, a sprint planning meeting. Now, during the course of this sprint planning meeting, all we typically do is we look at all our backlog items and the efforts we have estimated. We just select each of the backlog items according to their priority, because some of the backlog items would require, topmost priority, will be required to be given topmost priority, than others. So we pick those backlog items and we now introduce them into sprints. I'll show you again how I have picked and introduced those backlog items into sprints. So I have just picked items from the payment plan, pension payment plan feature. I have picked 2 items, checkout option and secure payment. And that is our sprint 1. I have just made this our sprint 1. Okay. Now, from this, we can now have our sprint goal. Our sprint goal is to ensure that at the end of this sprint, checkout options will be working fine. And then process users or the clients or the customers are able to securely have a payment done on this website. So that becomes our sprint goal. All right. Now, I have picked, and a typical sprint takes 2 weeks, 2 to 4 weeks, but a typical sprint is 2 weeks standard, but it doesn't exceed 4 weeks, worst case scenario in some instances, but it is 2 weeks standard. Now, during the course of the 2 weeks, what we'll be doing is iteration. What we'll be doing is building the products. Now, these particular features, all we'll be doing will be building these features. So the second day, because we don't start our daily stand-up until the second day into the sprint, because the first day into the sprint, the development team must not have done anything. So they just basically started on that day. So we would expect updates to come the next day, right? So which is the second day in the sprint. So the second day comes, they tell us that in an attempt to integrate the checkout option, they observed a bug. They couldn't complete the process of integration that they need to make, that they need the stakeholders to purchase a particular IT infrastructure that will help them to navigate the process of integration successfully. So once the Scrum Master hears this, he escalates to the product owner to say, there's an issue. The development team were unable to, integrate the checkout option because there was a bug. So they needed to, purchase an IT infrastructure that will help them to do so. So product owner will reach out to the finance team. The finance team will release money for the purchase of this IT infrastructure. And once that is done, the development team will be notified that had been purchased. And by the time they are notified, they get back on track and they get to do their job. So now I have just given a typical example of what plays out during the course of a daily stand-up meeting. So this report would not have come if the daily stand-up meeting did not hold. This information that the development team encountered a challenge would not have played out. So you see, that's the importance of daily stand-up meeting, and it typically takes 15 minutes as the case may be. All right, daily, and it happens daily. So it's the format is the development team comes, they tell us what they did yesterday, they tell us what they want to do today, they tell us if there are challenges or if there are impediments or there are issues or pain points, and then the Scrum Masters will pick that up and address subsequently after the stand-up meetings. Usually in those stand-up meetings, Scrum Masters do not deliberate and the team do not try to find solution on that meeting. We just want to hear the problem. And after the 15 minutes, Scrum Master picks up the problem and escalates to the appropriate authority. The sprint review. Now, after the 2 weeks, when we are done with this circle, this iterative circle, I call it iterative circle because it's the same thing that we do for sprint 1 that we repeat for the sprint 2. So it's the same circle. It's the same sprint planning meeting you hold. It's the same daily Scrum meeting you hold. It's the same sprint review meeting you hold. It's the same sprint retrospect meetings you hold. The only difference is that you are holding this unique to the features that you are building for each of those sprints. All right, but it's the same ceremony that goes into the works. Every time you bring out an output, every time you bring out an output is the same iterative process. So during the sprint review, basically the development team comes and presents to us a working, remember our sprint 1 goal, to get a working checkout options. So they come on they have a meeting where we come, all of us will be on the call, the process owners, sometimes process owners will be there, but the Scrum team have to be there, the product owner, the development team, everybody will be there. So they present to us, that this is the checkout feature that had been deployed. This checkout feature is working. This is it. That is that. They would show it. Now, while they are showing it, the software tester would perform checks to ensure that the checkout options is working perfectly. So after the demo or what we call sprint review meeting, this sprint review meeting is also called sprint demo, just so you know. So the review meeting, after the review meeting, they have shown us a working checkout option and a working secure payment feature, and we are good. Once we are good with that, the software tester does his job, and then we then do what we call UAT. Now, the UAT is an extra meeting where the software tester just tests this particular process with the process owners. But in this case, UAT will not apply because, of course, our focus for this sprint does not have a whole lot of processes that would warrant that we bring in the process owners, we bring in the client to come and test. The client would want to see, more features to test. That's why it will be ideal that you don't bring in the client for a UAT at this point yet. So you allow at least 2 to 3 sprints, then all you have done for within the 2 to 3 sprints, you then come together, you can have a UAT. You repeat the same process as you go, okay? But in this case, we have had our review meeting and everything checks out. And once everything checks out, the next thing that typically plays out is we now have what we call increments. If the checkout option is perfectly working, then we'll now have our first increment, which is checkout options, check. If secure payment feature is properly working, we now have our second increment, secure payment, check. All right. Sprint 1 done and dusted. We move to sprint 2.